Welcome back. Um, I was just posting GIFs, memes on Twitter, several of them to a point where I thought I'd talk about them. Because I started posting lava. Because I was like, wait, this is pretty much what I've been talking about. So there's a spreading, and as it spreads, this region destabilizes, like the current goes underneath it and then works its way in there, and then it just bubbles up. When it breaks through, it does like a volcano explosively. It's like a volcano there, but it's such a massive one that it like is more like we've been talking about. I was getting that's right. I was looking at the Bermuda Triangle. Maybe I should talk about that. Like here, where it's just gone. Like there's evidence that something happened here. Especially those two locations. Probably elsewhere just throughout the earth, for sure, but just because I've been talking about Hawaii recently, it comes to mind. Basically, like witnessing the formation process, in part, not exactly, like dependent on circumstances, but generally speaking, like how it can occur. Okay. This one I found interesting in regards to when I was talking about how the potential that these two are like emitted afterwards, after the Big Island and this one, Maui, and Maui separate. So Maui starts to move away, and then the current flowing out of here starts to emit in this angle. It's let's turn it, I guess, like that. Maybe like that. I don't know. Generally circular though, and then it rolls into this shape, I think, as it like peels away, and then after that, behind it, this one comes in as like the next emitted system, kind of like here, how there's this like chain of platonic complexes followed by a chain of islands, like the currents are related. So I was thinking like this is basically what happened is out of the side when the Big Island and Maui separated, the current that was going into Maui no longer was. And so basically there was an opening on the side and it started to come out, and it specifically started to come out like this, which if we look at this system and this system, they kind of resemble that. This one just is that, plus it turned and met resistance while turning, and shaped while it was still malleable to being bent like that. But essentially, this type of thing going on. Then there's this one. I was looking at this one a while because like this here, this one, it like branches out at some point when it starts over. It starts like this, and then it suddenly like loses these ones. It branches out there. That one disappears. There's all sorts of things going on here in terms of the polygons growing and shrinking, disappearing, remerging, is just taking different shapes. This one made me think of here, this region, where there's just a bunch of novas. Just throughout. Made me think of this. Maybe not with the motion, but maybe with the motion too. I mean, I'm sure with the motion too, to a degree. Maybe even swirling generally in this region, just like slowly. Another bubble type features going on. Then I started posting. I was like, well, that's a lot of lava posts. I'm just posting through. They're like one after another. Boom, 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 boom. But I'm like, that's a lot of lava posts. So it's like, what about like solar flares are cool too? I'm pretty much like, these are. If people who are looking at my Twitter are looking at these posts, then they're like, oh, these are. Hopefully, they're just like physically looking at them, like and seeing like the current flows and thinking about it a bit, and then like going to the next one, doing the same enough to see similarities across them instead of just seeing a chain of memes that have no meaning without like inspection, which is an issue with what I am saying is like it requires too much, almost an undue burden on every individual, because that's pretty much what it becomes. Whoa, there's like a dragon right there. Oh my god, look at the dragon. I didn't even notice. I was just like, whoa, that's a burst. Makes me think of shallograms. So maybe I should like pull up some shallograms. It makes me think of the ones that have like lines, just a bunch of cuts in them. Like this, like that. Rather than this. Like this is more like the like heart of it within. But then it can have these like currents that really just have that feature, so maybe it also has like an opposite inward. That dragon is incredible. It even looks like the way this is. Like with currents that way, as it like nosedives. Nosedives. Like it does end at like the base. This one I found real interesting because it slowly opens up like a kind of like a lava. It made me think of the lava things, and then it like goes instead of like where's the instead of producing like just a circle though, it begins to like the heat upward is so immense that it becomes in our, because it's the sun doing it instead of lava on Earth. It's like the sun's equivalent that we're observing here that's doing that type of thing, to a point where like the energy propagation is just seen as those currents instead of like the quite the same, but we still see generally like the yin yang divide that has like a separate side from the main portion that like the current flows between them. Here, this one's incredibly, like, I've come across with lava. With just this, like, sort of, especially, here's a good example. Here, here. Also here, combined with here, I think. Here. Here. This one made me think of shallograms, like the way... Let's get one that shows both features. Both features, we need both the roundedness and the dimples. I must have a good example. They tend to have like at times distinct upper half and lower half to this, to a point where it's almost like there's more nodal things going on than just like the fans. Like before it becomes fans, it kind of has just points right there. Like it sweeps through and opens points, and then the current then flows through the points as fans, and then it like fans out or through I don't know. So that's a shallogram, like the one. This one's in I love that two lightning strikes make it together. I'm not completely sure that this is real. It's really slow if it's real, like it was caught with a good camera. So in order for this to be real, it has to be both a good camera that's able to like capture this slowly and be this. Which is possible if it's like a known place to capture good lighting and people with good cameras bring their cameras to it. So it's possible. It is incredible, and it looks plausible that it would take like two paths. One of them flashes brightly like a positive. The other still flashes and flows through. It like doesn't have the branching. Suddenly it's one current. That's much more like, wow, this one just flashes and even like fans out. It's almost like the energy is discharged upward, fanning outward at that point. I'm looking over here, like, does it discharge like a negative void, like a darkness around it? Oh. So there's that. This I found real interesting. It looks like an ammonite. Just means there's cross currents, I guess, like the rotating current, but also currents that are like going right to the pole that especially creates something there, maybe. Or just that it's the pole and everything's kind of getting pinched by all these currents that are more laminar, causing like a vortex turbulence. I thought this was interesting. I searched for the Crab Nebula, like, well, maybe some kind of space image could add to this sequence. Just different angles. I never saw it in that, and I even searched for it afterwards. Like, was that even real? And it is. I never knew there was like that structure right there. I'm gonna pause it next time, I guess. Like, what? It's like a lava waterfall. That, like, runs into some kind of surface where it then maybe like the water surface is there and then it kind of puddles in that region and creates like a gaseousness to it, where this is like a node of a larger system's like overall structure that has the bond has broken in a way where like lava can just freely flow. This one, I don't know what this is from. I never saw this before. It looks like it's a real image, like based on the first image. Like the stars up here, I'm like, it doesn't describe what it's from. I searched for supernova, and then I added 1987A to see if it would get more technical ones that had actual images. This came up, so I was like, I gotta post it because it's cool. I don't know what it is, but it really is reminiscent of the same thing I keep coming across. They're over here, they're all over the place, but these are the most prominent ones right next to each other to kind of just consistently reference, so I do. And then the Tonga explosion, which I just thought was kind of fitting, like to this. Like maybe it's something of that nature going on, pretty much. Which is maybe something of this nature also on a different scale, pretty much, where this is what happens on one scale, like when we see it like this. But from a different angle, it looks more like an explosion, more like there is no lava flow anymore, just an explosion of energy. But then lava flow, maybe. And maybe this is like a current through the region that like, or non-current, current, probably current. Okay, what else I got? Oh yeah, this. So the reason I put this one is because it's pretty much a container where the pressure within it reaches a point where it just cannot be contained and it explodes. All the same mechanism, different forms, and through like crossing them to see what can be gleaned from each one, it adds clarity to each one. Okay. Pardon me. So, I was looking at Hawaiian Islands. I'm just gonna real quickly record about this. Where is it? This is by no means like the most technical sources that I could find. Well, they were the most technical sources that I could find in the amount of time that I put into searching, because I didn't really find any technical sources. Some of them were like usgs.gov, so it's not like the worst sources, but it's or Wikipedia at times, but it's certainly not like a technical paper about each island that I found. It seems like some of them are just get less attention because like this island's getting a bunch of attention probably, and maybe like certain islands, Maui, Oahu, the Big Island, probably get the most attention, and maybe this one, but then I don't think these three get as much. So there's just probably not as much geological discussion around them, and just inspection into them in general. So in general, am struggling to find research papers, but this happened with Malgar Nar in India, and then I like managed to puncture through to the other side and start to find like good technical sources to get a good bearing on the region geologically and be able to be more like precise. Because that's all it is like, if it's true, which it really does continue to just keep matching and matching and just like, whoa, dude. If so, then like new details should just add precision and amend things, but not amend like to the point of just like false. If it's true, to a point of like backtracking back to like where we were and going another way entirely, kind of way, like that kind of thing. Although maybe if love is the answer, but again, like it needs to be in like a world that's actually doing it and not just saying it, like like in a more complete way. I know I am who am I to speak, but I'm really the dude trying to figure things out to speak. That's the who am I? At all costs, practically. So this island, yeah, this one, 23. This one. I'm like, it said the not Pleistocene, Miocene, which is 23.03 to 5.333 million years according to radiometric dating. So it's something in that range. It's hard to say. So it's something at least 5 million radiometric dating is when it formed, but then something of note is it had a quote rejuvenation during the late Pliocene and Pleistocene, which is basically like, let's say like a million years ago, radiometric dating, something in that time frame. 2.58 or something to about 12,000 years. 2.58 million to about 12,000, but I think it's like around a million years, generally speaking. Something in that time frame is what I seem to be coming across. I may be mistaken, and it's generally, though, in like that phase. Okay, so there was basically a pause in the process, which kind of brought to mind I don't know if I have. Oh yeah, it was this. Where is it? There it is, there it is. There it is. Pardon me, sir. Okay, this. Brought to mind this, like maybe they overlapped around that time and it formed around 5 million, whatever exactly the period Miocene to Pliocene that it was specifically referring to, because geology, I mean, it's good, that's good enough. Like to just say a period of time when, but sometimes it's like, what's the freaking, like, what are we zeroing in on? Okay. Criticisms aside, then the next island here, 5.1. So this one's probably a little more than 5.1. So what I'm thinking as I'm going through this is like, if the Earth formed, or the Hawaiian Islands formed as a sphere, where these were subsequent accretions of continental shelf of the sphere in the process of its expansion itself. But this one, the Hawaiian Islands, exploded in the Pacific. If that happened, then like it's plausible that it was kind of just molten at the time, but like shaped by currents, but still molten, and in so being, not really like decaying or like painting a picture of decay until it like solidified enough. So basically, as components of it broke off and like began to cool, then they started to show radioactive decay evidence. So like this was first to begin to cool because it broke off first. Then this broke off, which was then next to cool, and they collided, and that produced this like interaction here that then rejuvenated. So going back to that rejuvenation during the Pliocene and Pleistocene, then rejuvenated the volcanism on this island. Then this one, 5.1, and then Oahu, the next one over, has this region is 4 million 4 million years radiometric dating. This volcano of this side. And then the other side is 2.7 million years, which is interesting that they're so different. And I've been talking about generally how trying to arrange them, and in the last video I was discussing how it appears by the landslide that the landslides here are actually energetically connected to both of them. And my thought was like it was just like a really energetic disconnect of one segment from the other, and it swung open this region because it had space to swing through, and then it basically started to run into resistance over here. As it swung around, it started to run into resistance of like a pile that's building up here. Maybe thinking something like that might have happened, because it looks like they were like a bond broke between them, and it generally propagated energy from like between them. And then like the material is associated to this one, so like it's just considered to have broken from here, but also maybe it was from here. Maybe I can find the video again where they replace these as part of this island. It may not be too important if I just look at this seamount and like space it enough and like space this island over here. Like this maybe was like physically wedged between this supporting structure and this supporting structure. And then this one like moved over here by breaking off, which then like subsequently led to the general collapse of it from here to this way. But having some energetic connection to here in terms of how it's shaped because it was connected to it. Maybe something of that nature. So that still fits, generally speaking, that this is older and this is younger than those. And then Molokai is 1.5 million years. And apparently it's two volcanoes. This, I guess, this, and then the other side that merged together. This looks a lot like the repeating shark tooth structure that we keep seeing. Here, here. Also here. Also here. Arrowhead, shark tooth, because that's how the fossils of shark teeth are made, is by geological processes and not by shark fossils, because they never were part of a shark. They were just in a sphere as a component of it as it broke apart. This time, it looks like maybe like there was a nova and another nova. Because, like, if we go to here, this nova, maybe they have one here. I never really looked for it, and, like, maybe it's generally down here, too. Like, to a degree, shaping this region. But especially noticeable is this one and this one producing here and down through here. So that would imply there's a good chance there was a nova here adjacent to another nova that then encouraged a spearhead type shape. I'm not sure if that's necessary. Maybe just like because of the nova here adjacent to another nova. Maybe because there was like this like this separator region of the seamount of the landslide material, like between them, and then another nova maybe is what led to that. So maybe this is also accreted from the original sphere, which was actually this, plus this stuff, plus this one. And I want to say this was Greenland, so also this one type of equivalent. But I might be, like, it has that spear thing. So I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be like a new, just totally new landmass that was accreted kind of thing. That's an interesting prospect, though, because this is a volcano and this is one. And I know there's a missing chunk here, and it appears like this swung in, so it also appears to have had one like there, whatever exactly it's marked as. So that would imply that there could have been two adjacent novas that left like a triangle, a long like Toblerone triangle thing sitting there with like cracks on both sides, and then it just slid off when this one moved away, creating this. Let's see. Uh, Might be better off with a real image. Let's just do it like this. So they are already scaled. I wasn't planning on doing this. Oops. Oh my god, where's my pen? There it is. Oh. Life. Liberty and the pursuit of happiness. 7 years ago. That's all I got. Maybe a little bit more, but I don't want to actually go to it. As far as all I got, so it's hidden. It's still hidden. Well, there was more. There was clearly more. What do you think? That was really all I got. 4 score. That's come on, dude. Oops. Okay. Something like that could have been going on, where it had like a segment here. That the landslide is. And then this just wasn't there. So it's more rounded. Not sure why. So maybe these features just occurred. So let's see, this island and this island. So this one, 2.7 million years. And this one is 1.5 million according to what I was finding. So it's still possible. They're not simultaneous, but maybe that's why they're like creating this. Because it's staggered, like nova rather than nova. Because nova would just produce a circular type of thing, but a nova that are staggered, mind you, 1.2 million years is not the actual amount of time. This is short, but enough to register. So nova, and then like this ripples and this ripples combining, producing a this thing this way, and maybe even like an opposing one like here, like maybe this thing is like it's negative, or it's positive and this is the negative, I guess, because this is on the land. This is like a extension and added bit. Like this is a continental shelf. This is newly accreted continental shelf. Like maybe I should be zoomed in a little more. I know I do that a little too much, where it's like, dude, fuck, zoom in. Oh my god, how can you see what you're even looking at? Which, if this is the case, it makes me think it's plausible that here, if I can just scroll over without changing size, maybe get both of those too. I know this is a sloppy way to do it, but like, oh my. Remember to breathe while you're lassoing the island. Okay. Okay. There we go. I was wondering if there's somewhere this kind of would fit. Like, I don't. Like, it would have to be like here. Like, maybe just boom, like that. Which is which side? It is the side distant to the Shalagram feature, where the Siberian Traps Nova vent appears to have been. If that's the case, it's the side distant to that, so. Wait. Did I do that right? I don't think I have this right, actually. No, it's over here. That's the actual place. This is not that. Okay, let's move it. It needs moved. This is the far side. Forget how I need this to be. Maybe I just won't worry about that right now. Let's pretend I don't have anywhere that might actually be associated with already, and just see how it fits here. Because I'm still just like trying to try different ways. Maybe before I try for this side, which looks like it might actually be more appropriate lengthwise, I might as well check here. Okay, I went too far, some way. Just keep hitting 30 until like that doesn't really, maybe, but it would have had to fold a lot, which is, I mean, if it was a sphere, like, and this actually, in a beneficial way, like if I also lasso this one out. I wish I could just turn these. I'm just gonna ignore that little piece there. I know there's more to this. I should probably have got the C-mount with them. I just gotta make sure I space them a bit, I guess. Let's just get rid of this. That has to stay. Okay. It just looks kind of ridiculous, but it's alright. Okay, use the C-mount as a basis there. And then up here, that. Let's just go big. Okay, let's look a little closer at here. Does this, like this kind of coloration in here and like the general trend here, like in some way appears like maybe like this was chakras, this was chakras, this was chakras, this was chakras that were like bonded, and that this here was energetically tied to this region. Maybe. Although I really think this is tied to the Siberian Traps region, which is tied to here. This is the Hawaiian, if Hawaii mimics Earth as a smaller and formed as a smaller sphere of Earth, where it has similar features such as the Siberian Traps, I believe this is the Siberian Traps equivalent. If that's the case, I believe the cause of the Siberian Traps to be closely tied to a nova here, which basically allowed flow here. There's an ammonite here. Allowed flow here. And formed a like propagation into this region, though. This is where the Siberian Traps are. Sorry. I'm just thinking and speaking and all these things. So many things. So basically, if that's the case, then the Siberian Traps are here, but they were propagated from a distance, which I believe to have been specifically, this was the North Pole, and this was the propagation point, which is like the shallogram. No. Like this. Here being like here, we even see like a bar. And then up here we see two currents there. From here, certainly we see one. Like generally over this way. Maybe a second this way. I don't know. I'm just looking at the surface to see. those are some dendrites right there. So I really think this is the pole, and this is closely related to... Crap, I zoomed in and out, so now I don't have the same scale. I was going to keep going with the same scale. I was like, oh yeah, let's keep using the same scale now that I... Maybe this is the right scale. I don't know. That seems about at most there. Okay. So, like, it probably isn't there, but maybe... Zoom out a little bit. Even though it does look like a pretty good fit, I really just don't think it makes as much sense. So let's keep trying. It's like if one of these also fit pretty well. This one just doesn't look like it fits. Like it would have to be like that, I guess. Maybe. It does also have the potential of generally fitting, which is probably because this one has the 4 sides to it around that center. Is this it? Did I just turn it to the side? Oh, this is the side I was already looking at. That's why it fits. I'm like, it looks like it fits too. Oh, Lord. I might be a little incapacitated. Okay, fine. I admit it. This one looks plausible. Ooh. Like, it's got the same width over here. It's got a more, like, linear feature across here. And then still, like, the capacity to come out to here. And not as much definition over here. It's a little less, like, it's a little more green than over here, which maybe is reflective of the types of materials. But it does have, like, look plausible. I'd probably need a higher definition images. Let's see if that makes sense here. This. So then that's pretty much here. Just gotta turn it a bit. In terms of how the color, like the boundaries of colors, like this generally goes to this boundary and around here. So like this having the same boundary is good. Like over here looks pretty similar to how this is. So that's good. It does look like it's plausibly aligns here. Enough to like say maybe these chunks go like this, and this one I guess goes 180 degrees almost over here. So assuming that this is obviously assuming because we're doing that to investigate it. It's not like we've already investigated it and found like disproofs and ignored them and swept them under the rug and pretended like that didn't happen. Okay. So maybe I can just take like half of this island right now. I'm not completely sure. Let's just take an image of an pre-taken image of an island. Like here. Just see if it matches. Okay, good. I'm at the right scale then. I don't want it to take too big of an image. Okay. We lassoing. Here. I guess I should at least kind of get the seamount here. Like, I don't think it's the whole distance. Because it's a sphere and like the portion outward actually like fills in the sphere's space from the center, because this was the center, not the outer edge but the inner edge. Okay, so this would then have to go upside down now from this angle. A little more. Is that the appropriate position? I think that was actually... That's the position I need to have adjacent to this. Okay. That's good though, because then that would mean that it has to like fit like along this. Okay. So mind you, this, like I was talking about, perhaps did not exist. Let's drop this layer. Why did I move in there? Did it just, does it do that? Here, here. It does do that. It moves in. Which maybe is related to this moving out. Okay, that's good. This one. I'm starting to get more like maybe kind of thoughts in my head to a point where I'm gonna like get this background out of here. Which I should have a long time ago. It's just sitting there being kind of like a distracting background. True, true. Okay. So that maybe I can lasso this region real quick and just like opacity it. No. Paste it, maybe? Okay. Okay. Now I can... I'm sure there's a better way. But sort of like make it like it was... It didn't exist yet for the time being. Okay. And then... we're aligning this with here pretty much is our goal. So maybe -5, 10. Just kind of get a little more distance there. Okay. Let's just kind of glance at this. Does this make any sense? I was pretty quick to just go through these. There's so much information. I almost need to just like spend a few weeks looking at this, without recording. But I really want to just record it all. It just sucks that I'm not like rapidly coming to conclusions like I had been. I feel like the supernova is dwindling. Now I'm kind of. I mean, it's certainly still things of interest. It's just I keep amending this. Let's add the other island. Oh crap. I think it was the zoom. That looks right. Let's get the rest of this one too. No, it's big enough. Right? Yeah. And this way. That's what I was afraid of. What have I done? How's it not? Like it looks like the right this way. I guess it's a little smaller still. I'll just have to increase it. Whatever. I was just trying to avoid that. Okay. Cut. Paste. Put it down further. Underneath. A little too big. fun stuff, I know. I know. Okay, okay. No matter what, this is it. However, this looks best on the sides. Alright, that's exactly the shape. There's nothing... off. What do I do? Layer, merge group. Okay. Okay. Good enough? Good enough. Good enough. Whatever. Good enough. Now we need, though, looks like to zoom in one more time, and then to take this picture. We don't need these two don't matter that much. I guess I might as well just snag them. Okay. But we really want this one here, mostly. Basically 180 degrees. No. Wrong way. 30. Yeah. Okay. This thing is not really well fitting in terms of like there being nothing over here detectable that I am aware of, at least, to like really be like its other half. Like what's going on here? Although it's possible that it's more related to these two volcanoes producing like a drainage between them, and maybe it wasn't. It really seems like it would be detectable here, though. I'm just thinking, I wonder if this can be like subsequently put over here kind of thing and figured out like I don't know how to get it on a sphere. Like, how do I get this on a sphere? See what it does. I don't know. Zoom out. Oh, it is beautiful. That. And it's hilariously, it's like the inner surface of the sphere. If I only could like get it to fill the sphere, what the? It's, uh, how do I make it fill the sphere? Like, why did it not? Hmm. Nice. Okay, I will have to see if I can find a way. Although, look, the thing is this looks like it's just like a layer. It's not as necessary to like be precisely fitting. Like, I'm just gonna undo this 3D. Just moving it. Maybe that's why Dolly the do I need to like accept change or something? Like, I don't see anything. What the field of view? Still. Oh my god, that's so crazy. Just to see it like that, that's so cool. And then, oh my god, that's so cool. If that's a pole, and that's a pole. I just kind of have assumed that's a pole. I don't know. That might be unreasonable. Okay, so okay, redo, delete layer, redo. Okay, there. Lanai is a single dome shield volcano, extinct, which gives credence to the concept that like the Mauna Loa magma of the magma of the Big Island like flowed out of a channel that then filled a polygonal bubble, pretty much filled a bubble with material that then took a shape and became a shield volcano, but then it became extinct because it peeled away from the source of the magma. Same for this one, extinct shield volcano. What is going on here? Did someone do that? Did someone do this? Is this man-made? What is going on? I mean, there's certainly some structure out here, so maybe, but I don't think someone did that. What the? I don't know. I'll just for now assume someone did that and check it out at some other point if I remember. But what the? Maui. Okay, East Maui. Maui. East Maui. 2 million years. Volcanic history buried beneath innumerable lava flows thousands of meters thick. So the volcanic history of this region is pretty much numerous lava flows, like one atop another. So if there's a this region where there's Mauna Loa, like the magma source of this sphere, the stable nucleus of magma that is flowing through the channels of this sphere, pretty much. What was that? Yeah, if it's flowing this way, like a actual physical current route that wraps through here and back around here at some point, then it would make sense that maybe we'd see a lot of like overlaying currents at some point in the process, like here, maybe here. Why not? If it's in this like current flow, but maybe it's like not actually as volcanic as it would seem, but it's more fueled by Mauna Loa's volcanism and as a source. I don't know the details, but just based on that, lava flows thousands of meters thick. Oldest exposed is 1.1 million. Post shield flows are from 950 to 150,000 years ago, which are called Kula volcanics. In Turkey, Hawaii. This is where I got it from. Oops. In most places, lava flows of the Kula volcanics extend from the coast to the summit area of Haleakala. Summit area of Haleakala. Which is pretty much the summit of the eastern segment. Okay. Whoa. Let's just look at some images real quick, too. Okay. So in essence, I'm just thinking that this is just like a mound that was formed by currents flowing this way. And also in here, it looked like at some point when I was looking here, like it flowed this way across to it to bring like in the process when it was like flowing through here, if that's the case, it was flowing from here over into here. Like however exactly would need to be positioned. Like it would be folding, so it'd maybe be more like over here, not actually in a straight line, and more over here because of folding. So it just goes this way, more that way. And this kind of folds closed. Maybe. It does look like a little too wide of an opening. I guess I could be wrong about this all. I'm just thinking, like, I gotta be honest about that. With that said, I'm still investigating it, so it's not like it's end of the story in that case. I wonder if this kind of can fit along, like if this here can kind of go along here, maybe here to here. I don't know. Let's copy these images, especially this one. Rotate it 30 degrees. Maybe another 5 degrees or so. And then this one, like, would have to be turned 35 degrees, I guess. Oops. Maybe even more. Really as much as I can while keeping it straight, maybe like there. And keeping them still pretty much where they make some degree of sense. Like this chakra, this chakra, this chakra, this chakra, at least like that. Those there maybe are like the best ones to align from if I'm considering this as a possible thing going. So that's pretty good. Okay. Then I'm just thinking this here. Maybe it could have been like generally like that. This would have been over here. That's right, I cut that off. Did I merge them though? At that point, I should have done it, I thought. Whatever. Then. Does that make sense? Like sometimes in doing this, I'm like, okay, this side is adjacent to this, and it's adjacent to this, and it's adjacent to this. Like, okay, I'm wrong. This is what I've been doing. It needs adjusted. Like to really make sure that nothing's like touching. No side is touching two sides. That's the key. Like if this is touching here, then it can't be touching anywhere else pretty much. So like this one is pretty much fully touching. This is closed off. This so like this side would have to be closed off. So pretty much all here, which would mean that like this would have to be right here, pretty much like wrapping around itself to be here also. It's a little weird. Like it seems like wouldn't make sense then. Maybe near a pole, that's possible in a way that I'm not. But I think this is a pole. Although, like, it's just hard in one plane. This is probably the best I've done so far, though, in terms of potentially accounting for them all. By not accounting for two of them, because I believe that they plausibly accreted later, as I've talked about. And then just trying to go through the other ones as if they all. And then also doing the same with this, and then going through the others. That might be. Like, this is looking like it could feasibly be a sphere if I manage to get these. Like, it would be nice to just cut them out like this and make a sphere with it. Yeah, maybe I should just trace them with a piece of paper. Like, that might be the easiest way. And then start taping them together. Or print it out, but I don't want to use ink. My parents' ink. My dad's ink. I don't want to use his ink. Okay. I wonder geologically if this would make sense, like in terms of this map. I kind of accounted for it here, but then it looks like if I just keep going, then that this I put down here turned a bit. 30. I'm just thinking maybe if it's more like there. Doesn't make that much sense. Unless the current just flowed out atop here and then into some opening between and just didn't go over this region and went down instead underneath. Which is kind of how mountains form, is by upwelling of pressure, it looks like, pretty much in other regions. So it's possible the current then flowed underneath there, and maybe even underneath there in two different waves. Let's see. The smaller side, this side being a first wave. So that kind of makes sense, I guess. Like this current could go to either side, and it went to this side and then to this side. Maybe. Like an upwelling of internal pressure that just flowed out and went first this way through and then like filled this region enough to then like deflect off of it, like happened in Gurnar and Sarastra, as I talk about in other places, but just for reference. Not sure where I actually have it. Been a while. I don't think it's actually there at all. This, how the region of Sarastra was formed, where there's a current flowing that accumulates a mass, and then it builds up a pressure that then deflects the current, causes it to flow, and then in this instance changes all sorts of things. But in short, like it fills this region and then deflects and goes that way maybe. Which way is it coming in geologically? It's coming in the nicer looking side geologically and then fanning out over here. Where maybe it like drains. Kind of, so it's possible. So like Sarastra again, it's totally possible for the Deccan traps to exist right here with all this stuff going on and currents of basalt flowing all atop the surface. But for that current to flow and then just go down and not actually flow so that there's Deccan traps over here whatsoever. Or up here, over here, it's really concentrated to where specific things were going on. And so it's possible that there's actually boundaries where like this current changes how it's seen, like, and then over here it's seen as flowing atop, but then it runs into resistance and carves downward, or maybe not runs into resistance, but like drains downward. At some point, it starts draining downward, and then gets underneath that segment again. But this is just like, so this is in the direction of eastward propagating. Just one of the propagations. So, like the general propagation into the sphere from Earth itself, from the currents of the Earth, is in two directions into the Big Island. Like relative to here, based on currents that I've talked about in the past, where there's like a boundary here where they collide, and then like between the collision of the forces, the current is then forced to flow. In some, I don't know exactly how it flowed, but it also like it manages to funnel a channel through here, and then it looks like goes this way into this region, which I guess I can't draw on, and then also maybe even down here through here, like be participating in the divide of that. I don't know how the spacing would work here if it were to be like balled up. At least contributing to it. I'd probably put it too close because it's spaced. So let's move it a bit more because there's a landslide that occurred from here. So maybe that's why a landslide occurred, like from that side and not the other side. I don't know if that makes sense. Is like a current was flowing here and this way. Can I just select all layers and just draw on them all? Nope. Okay, fine. Fine. Also seems like a current went through here. Which, if we go back here, at least it's like directionally in line with this in a way where it like it maybe is associated with it. Like it's not completely without anything, although again it's anomalous. I will admit that there's no like what's going on here. But again, it may just be that it's draining down underneath it, physically underneath the surface of this layer. Does this make sense? I can also copy this here. Copy. 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 Paste. Oh no, I've been drawing on that. $2:30. Freaking. I was like, what time is it? This is what I'm doing with my morning or whatever. Okay. Yep. Okay. So, does this fit here with any reasonableness? It would have to be... Like that. This is one of those instances where it's like, well, like where... I feel like there's something missing. If it's the case. Like this seed mount I'm not accounting for making this not quite the right shapes to be taking, and then it's just directing my flow. Like as soon as something happens, I'm suddenly on a different path that's not towards what the, like if this is true, that there's only one way it's true, so like finding it is like it takes looking through possibilities, unless there's other ways, but this is the best I got right now. Obviously I could look into more specifics of data and all, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't fit this way, it doesn't even matter really. And if it does begin to look like it could fit this way, then I can look into the data a little more closely. Like, could this thing have a field that has... Or could maybe this branch out into a field here? Like a lobe? Because this is one over here that comes this way. Through here. Like it has inlets here. I'm pretty sure inlets. These things that are just like so much current that they're and meeting resistance that they basically are caused to upwell here by flowing back from wherever they went this way. Which maybe was just like itself. I don't even know. Maybe it doesn't like as a sphere like this region really opens up and reattaches to itself. So that it's not actually this over here. That would take a hell of a reattachment though. To have this much. Although maybe this just kind of slides on in like the triangle shape like that kind of thing. It's kind of square like there, but something of that nature by just it folding enough. Like, I don't want to rotate it, but where it's generally it has more space. There we go. Holy crap, this is almost 2 hours. Another thing, okay. Maui Nui. Here's Maui. What is believed to be Maui Nui is these 4 islands, which were thought to have been together once. Which reminds me that I do believe that kind of makes sense there. Let's go back here. And so maybe like this was like up in here. Relative to them. I mean, because essentially I put this over here and then it's on top. This is on top here. But on a sphere, maybe it wrapped around to here. And then like this segment kind of went over here. And it was maybe. This looks kind of like a yin segment to the yang or whatever. And just ignoring these largely because they seem to be accreted. I know that's kind of cheating. I don't want to like cheat that away, but that's where I'm at right now, okay? I don't think it's cheating if there's an actual explanation, so... Let's see. If I just take this picture here... Let's say new. Let's say new. Create. Paste. Lasso here. Cut, paste. Rotate, maybe 180. Maybe. Oops. Undo that part. Dude. I mean, it fits pretty good. It fits pretty good. Turn another. Which is how I have it here. Here as well as here. All right. Just closed at this point. This is open, so these fill the space between. Here they were yet to form. Really, I should have maybe got a little more of this bottom here. There we go. I just thought maybe I'd at least put it back. What the? I don't know. Let's see. Let's do like here to here. 75 kilometers. $60 kilometers. Let's see, 60 kilometers? So if it came from there, it probably didn't come from that segment so much. Although maybe that's kind of what this is. I don't know, it seems like it's just... Certainly, this, like, the island doesn't matter. The seamount matters here more than the island, really, in terms of what's going on. And where it came from, I kind of assumed initially it came from here. I guess it's possible that it was like here and like attached here. I don't know, just a thought. Not that it matters that much, but just a thought. Seeing the like discrepancy. Okay. So that's some pretty good progress, I'd say. At least, like, if it is the case, I feel like we're approaching something that can see that, and if it's not the case, we can be like, alright, fine. But there's enough of it that goes together that like something's going on here. Even if it wasn't a sphere, like there were certainly connected islands that had currents flowing through them that really, at that point, strongly suggest a sphere again. At least some sort of polygonal, three-dimensional polygon type structure that approaches a sphere, maybe not actually a sphere. Okay, before I just sit here forever, time for bed. See y'all later. Peace out.